I am very proud that riding a horseback is my cup of tea. And when you and your friends or guests come to Kazakhstan, and you go with them somewhere into a field on a horse, it is obvious that I have such skills that I confidently and boldly, like a Kazakh woman, ride a horse against the wind with my hair back. You know, it is some kind of steppe spirit. I wouldn't have felt so much courage if it weren't for my work.
As a child, Zhibek was a very active child. She played, ran, and made friends only with boys. We have a younger son. We weren't worried about him, but more about her, because she was able to protect him.
As a child, I fell from a horse. My grandfather put me on a foal. They wanted to say happily, "Look, here is Zhibek on a horse." But the foal got scared, ran away, and I fell down. After that, I didn't think that I would ever sit on a horse. I wasn't interested, until I saw how it could be beautiful. About 15 years ago, I saw the guys getting ready for something. I just stopped and looked. I watched for 20, 30 minutes and left, and it repeated every day. It was very beautiful, and I was attracted to it. From that moment, I began to become acquainted with circus performers and stuntmen. I came to a circus program for the first time, saw a horse riding act, when the girls hung upside down. For me, it was something wildly crazy. I honestly thought to myself, they're out of their minds. There's something wrong with them. It's unrealistic to just do it.
Once she came together with one of our guys to see what we were doing here. And I looked closely at her for a long time. To be a stuntman, even in horseback riding, you need strength, and she is thin, so fragile. And then she sat on a horse, helped everyone, ran around, and such people usually learn quickly. The main thing is to have a desire, and that's all, after you can pump up your muscles and gain experience.
At that time, I was about to graduate choreography class, and it was easier for me to do fighting and fencing. Firstly, I have always had stretching. I perceive fencing as a dance. It's easier for me to teach it because my body has plasticity.
We already found out that she became a stunt woman when she was apparently accepted. She was engaged in dancing, she graduated from music college well, and when she started working, only then did we find out. But we were proud. At the same time, we are always afraid. All the same, for a stunt girl, it's some kind of injury. You're always afraid, especially when they leave for a long time, far away for filming. That way she gains experiences. It is their choice. To my husbands and my opinions, let us leave the choice to the individual. If we talk about stunt work in general, then for a girl you need to start with physical training. Because if there is no physical strength, then it can be ended up with injuries, especially at the initial stage. And probably in terms of tricks, there are a number of tricks that a woman can perform, but she would not do that because in the future, she must be a mother, and therefore these are very traumatic tricks, and women try not to perform these tricks. The most difficult thing for me at the very beginning was to do the scarf trick in the circus.
It's a trick when you hang upside down on a madly running horse and collect scarves. So I collected scarves. When I worked in America, I collected swords instead in the same tricks, and it always seemed to me, when I hang upside down, and what if the horse stumbles? Are you ready? I always had fear of this trick. Well, in the beginning. Now, of course, you go into the field everywhere, sat on someone else's horse, do a trick, and ride off. We do not have the right to refuse. They believe in us. They rely on us. And if we refuse, and there is no one else to do it, at least in Kazakhstan, the situation like that.
Бұл мамандықты сүю үшін ең алдымен үлкен бір жүрек қажет.
I think to love this profession, you need to have a big heart and courage. I heard from Zhibek's colleagues about her unbreakable stubbornness and courage. During filming in India, she was a stunt double and participated in scenes with a horse, where she had to descend at full gallop to a depth of 20 or about 50 meters. She descended, then went up, and so on again and again.
It seems to me that if you are fearless, you shouldn't do a trick or something dangerous. I always worry about anything, even though you do it every day for 15 years. Even in such cases, you can do it without thinking, break down, and let yourself down. That's why I'm always afraid, even if it's fencing, a project, an easy light project as we call that. But in reality, such projects don't exist.
Каскадерская работа, она рискована, и ты сталкиваешься со своими какими-то страхами.
Stunt work is risky. You are faced with some kind of fears that you didn't even know you had because you have never tried some things, for example, working underwater or high-altitude falls. Without working as a stuntman, you never do this. And in these moments, you begin to recognize yourself.
Ты начинаешь узнавать себя.
Мы уже как большая семья, и на площадке, и можем так.
We are like a big family. We meet on the set, at training, at rehearsals. Well, mostly together. I can say about Zhibek that she is very brave. She is for challenges. She is always ready for tricks, positive, kind. She always helps you.
Добрая, всегда навстречу тебе пойдет.
Мы работали на кинокартине «Мунбала». У нас были съемочные дни, связанные с...
We worked on the film Minbala. There were shooting days that involved a lot of walking around the steppe. In the morning, we got on our horses, and almost until the end of the shift, we didn't get off the horses, only for some breaks, lunch, and that's it. Physically, it was hard for the men. In my opinion, Zhibek and I and Aliyah were only present in this scene. We were Amazons. All the other participants in this scene were men. I respect her very much, because I was used to the fact that newcomers give up very quickly when a difficult test begins. Usually they keep saying, "I'm tired, I can't." But at that moment in those scenes, only men complained about that they were tired and couldn't perform at all. And of course, at this moment, you understand that a person is strong-willed, that she can and will do.
Площадкаларда көбінесе жабайы жылқылар беріледі. Және де ол біздің қыздардың, жігіттердің құзырында таңдау жоқ.
Often, we work with wild, unbridled horses on set. Our stunt guys have no choice. They have to work with what they have. At one of the filming rehearsals, one horse, apparently due to the unbearable heat, began to show its violent temper, trying to throw off Zhibek, who was riding it. We all froze in fear and horror. Whether she would fall or not, but Zhibek clung to the horse with a death grip like a tick or a wildcat. We were amazed at her courage and strength.
Для девушки сложная работа. Это психологически и физически.
This is a difficult job for a girl. Probably not everyone can withstand this psychologically and physically.
Это реально тяжело, потому что решаясь на какой-то трюк, у тебя внутри столько мыслей и страха. Ну, это я про себя.
It's mentally difficult because when you decide to do some kind of stunt,
Но я больше
you have so many thoughts and fears inside.
характера, наверное, такой назик. И когда мне
I don't know how
страшно,
other
я
stunt
хочу
girls
плакать.
are, but I'm gentle. When I'm scared, I want to cry. But I don't do this because I have a whole team with me. These are my colleagues, and I understand that nothing will happen to
Ничего
me.
не случится.
Я думаю, в этой профессии вообще не работают люди, у которых
I think
нет
that people who
какого-то
don't have some kind of stubbornness, who don't try to overcome some of their fears every minute, don't work in this profession. Challenge yourself whether I can or not. Our profession is conditioned by the fact that a person should be like this from the very beginning.
Тем, что человек должен быть таким изначально.
Я ее на самом деле не выбирала, эту работу, профессию. Я хотела быть балериной.
I actually didn't choose this job, this profession.
Я хотела
I wanted to be a ballerina. I wanted to be a singer. I wanted to wear a beautiful dress, being on a stage, no dust, no steps.
Так получилось,
It
что
so happened that I've been doing tricks on horseback in the steppe for 15 years. I'm actually very glad that I got into the field of cinema, the field of circus. It's very difficult to leave this field.
уйти отсюда очень, очень тяжело. Работая с актером в кадре, он не каскадер, он не профессионал, и он...
If you work with an actor, if he is not a stuntman or a professional, he can swing a sword very badly. He can hit so hard. But we are stuntmen. We sometimes have to endure this. And we can get serious injuries, of course. It is also common. But thank God, I don't have any serious injuries that would prevent me from working in the future. I was recently treated for a leg injury, and during this period of 2-3 months, I thought, maybe it's time to change. I have other skills. I am capable of being engaged in different fields. I can do this, I can do that. Just take care of yourself, start singing, record an album. I have had such thoughts in my head. But no, 2 months later, when my knee stopped hurting and I said, no, I will be back to the circus.
И ты такой, типа, нет, я пошел обратно в цирк.
Мы ходим на представления, она и цирковой артист тоже у нее.
We go to her performances. She is a circus performer too. She had a lot of performances. Their team is very good. We always said to Zhibek, "You are Zhibek Kaz," and she was offered to play the role of Kaz. Zhibek, my husband and I were very pleased. She didn't stay at home, always outside. She was always found at the circus, all the time attending rehearsals. When there was a performance, we were invited. It was a very bright moment. I even shed tears. It was so beautiful.
Папа гордится, что я близка с лошадью.
My dad is proud that my job is connected with horses. Well, he always has such dreams about Zhibek with a long braid, horses, and steppe. That's probably where it came from. He dreamed about it a lot. Initially, my parents didn't understand what kind of work this was, and they took it so lightly, thinking it was some kind of hobby, a circus. Now I'm glad that I'm a stuntman, because when my parents watch the film I worked in, they don't see me. They see an actress, and they don't understand how difficult or dangerous it was for me to do some kind of stunt. For example, today I fell upside down on the concrete with my head and broke my head, and it started bleeding. They don't know about such moments and treat it with ease. They are proud of me.
Поэтому они не знают о таких моментах и относятся с легкостью, гордятся. Куча опыта и навыка ты получаешь за границей на современных
You
проектах.
gain a lot of experience and skills abroad on modern projects. But they are less interesting to me. It is better to work on a historical project. Because in a historical film, there is always a horse, cool historical costumes. You find yourself in past, and during filming, you live in that time. It's a great feeling.
Это классно чувствуется. Наша команда работает часто на заграничных проектах. У нас есть эта дисциплина и понимание.
Our team often works on foreign projects. We have discipline and understanding. Netflix and HBO are cool platforms. They work according to timing. Everything is clear. Of course, there are some moments, there are delays, there are some scenes canceled, but most often it's the human factor. The actress got sick or something happened to the location, but it's all quickly replaced and restored. But at the same time, we love our cinema very much. We never refuse any projects. Whether it's a small series project or a large project like Tamira's film, we always agree, we always work out.
Мы всегда соглашаемся, всегда отрабатываем.
Наши каскадеры, они универсальные каскадеры.
Our stuntmen are universal, and they can perform on horses, in cars, in fights, in falls, and in anything you want. Our stuntmen can do everything.
Наши каскадеры могут все.
Когда я строил саму систему,
When I was building the very system of our team, I understood that we cannot just ride horses. Now there are a lot of horsemen all over the world. A lot of good stunt riders are Spaniards and Americans. Then I started experimenting, started staging fights and working with cars and falling on cables, and it helped. If in the West they are more narrowly focused, that is, there is no team like ours that could work in all directions.
работать во всех направлениях.
Всегда есть отклик. То есть, когда мы хотим...
There is always a response when we want to make a new program or something. There is always a response from her in terms of what she will always support. She also becomes captivated by this idea and may also stay awake, thinking about how best to do it, what costumes look best, what tricks are best to add. In this regard, of course, it's easy because she's our person.
Наш человек.
Осы Қасымханда мыңға жуық барлық
During the filming of the film Kasimkan, we participated in combat scenes.
көп актерлардың арасында
I found myself right in the middle of the crowd. At that moment, Zhibek immediately told me that we needed to change places. I was staying on the edge. After the shooting, Zhibek told me why she asked me to change the location. It turns out she wanted me to get caught by camera, because this was my first time starring in a historical film, and she already had such experience. I was touched. This speaks of her big heart and humanity.
Қасиеті мен үшін бір түрткі болды.
В чем наша сила? Мне нравится сейчас, что
What is our strength?
наши девушки, наши
I
женщины,
like now that our girls and women have begun to wear beautiful Kazakh jewelry, these chapans.
вот эти чапаны, очень много нарядов стали дизайнеры шить. И я сама
Designers began to sew a lot of outfits.
и этим
I myself love and adhere to this style. And with this, our women show that they love our culture, love our art, love our appearance as a Kazakh girl. I believe that I am a real Kazakh woman.
Я есть настоящая казахская женщина.